Hi, welcome to Think Human. I'm Chris, and in this video I want to talk about the trolley problem. Now, this is a philosophical thought experiment, and it goes like this. So, you're on a train quietly riding along, and in front of the train tracks there are two people tied up on the railroad. And you're in the conductor's seat, and to the left of you there's a switch. If you were to pull this switch, this lever, the train would go to the left, and on the left there is one person tied up to the train tracks. So the choice is yours. What do? Do you let the train continue? Do you do nothing and do people die? Or do you pull the lever and one person dies and you save one life at least? So the response to this is quite varied depending on how people approach this, but now there is also a modification to this thought experiment. So this one would go like this. So imagine a similar scenario. You're riding on this train and ahead of you there are three people tied up to the railroads. Now you're in between carts, and in front of you you notice this gentleman who is quite big, and you figure out that if this man were to fall, if you were to give him a small push, he would fall in between the carts exactly in a way to stop the train in time to save those three people. So again, what would you do? Would you push this man and save three people, or would you do nothing and three people would die? So again, depends on how you approach it. There are two kind of main ways to look at it. One would be the utilitarian view. This would be this like most lives saved is most important. So it would make much more sense. It clearly would make more sense to save three lives instead of one. Like this would just be weighing the pros and cons, like really simply, it's just a numbers game. Like all other things, the same, the value of lives, everything, they're all equal human beings, with equal worth. So three lives saved is definitely better than one life saved. But another way to look at it, of course, would be this kind of personal view of you would need to personally pull the lever, and in the second scenario, even worse, you personally would need to push this man, taking their life. In terms of in order to save the lives of three other people, so which is worse. In the first scenario, at least I would argue, if all you had to do is pull the lever, I would say people who think that they're directly responsible if they pull the lever of killing a person, they might get trauma or whatever. But the inaction of doing nothing is letting two people die, and I would say if you have the opportunity to save them, then it would equal you basically killing those people instead of one person if you had the opportunity to save them. So even inaction, if you could do something, is action in a way. I would say in the second scenario it might be a bit more tricky, since you actually physically need to take another human being's life and be responsible for that in a more direct way. On paper they don't really matter so much because it's the same thing, like one life minus and weighed against some other life, but on a personal emotional view it's kind of a different. So it's interesting to think about, like, what would you do, and then how would you go about it? I would save most people as I can. I would be happier later knowing that I could have saved the most amounts of people, and it's, yeah, but that's just me. So what are your thoughts about it? It's an interesting experiment. Hope you got something interesting out of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.